All right, everybody.
There we
He's
go.
here. Your friend, my friend, Jesse Inocalla is here. It's the Blue Curtain Show. Welcome, Jesse.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Michael.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a season, but
Is that why you moved your headquarters to space overlooking us?
yeah. Well, also I've got my laundry drying in the back, and I figure I don't want to air my
Yeah.
dirty underwear to the
No
world.
space laundry
Yeah.
allowed on the show. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's definitely been a minute. I know that everybody won't know this, but Jesse and I go way back, which is kind of a fun story in and
Oh,
of
well
itself.
over well over a decade at this point. It
Yeah,
feels like.
well over a
Yeah.
decade. But we'll save that story. First and
Yep.
foremost, dude, I just want to say thank you for joining me on my humble, tiny little show. And yeah, I'm grateful for you. Thank you so
Well,
much, man.
thank you so much for having me. It's always just fun to hang with you, man.
It
It's always
is.
just fun to
I just
show
like
up,
hanging out.
spend some
Everyone's like,
time.
why did you want to talk to that person? I'm like, I needed an excuse to hang out.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man. So first question, always a
Yes.
doozy. I just want to talk about the formative years of Jesse.
Mm.
It's not quite the wonder years because usually that's sort of like 12 and onward. Formative 0 to 10.
Oh
What did
boy.
you do with your time?
Oh man. I guess my like my 0 to 10 for what I remember of them, they were so long ago. Uh, I grew up. I was born in Burnaby, not far off from here. My dad was a monk. My mom was a hippie. He wasn't a great monk because here I am. My brother's one. My sister's floating
Well,
around.
depending on who you ask, some
That's
monks are
fair.
just like, I'm down with that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Maybe he's a great monk. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, we grew up. I really like 0 to 10 was interesting because we grew up as the only house at the end of a road in Burnaby when it was still really unincorporated land out near SFU. So
Yeah.
I remember like my house was this cedar shingled house. Like my uncle had come up from Montana to build half of the house,
Wow.
and we were surrounded by the woods. So I just remember being a kid and running around in the woods and like spending
Mm.
time with our family's dogs in the woods, going on little adventures here and there as best I could at least. And then I remember, I think I was telling you this, it's such a specific memory, and I think it's so interesting. Probably when I was about 10, we had a deck at the house. I woke up and I went outside, and I'm sure it wasn't as bad as I remember it, but I remember stepping out onto my deck and being used to like, woods and forest behind me. And it looked like Dune back there. It was just
Right.
like in my head, it's like just light and sand and excavators.
Right.
And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, we're being invaded. Like something's happening. It's over.
They have come with their
They've come at last.
Yeah, I had a very similar kind of woods at the end of the road kind of vibe where I lived growing up, just in those early teen years slash late tens. And
Mhm.
yeah, same thing. Like it's there one day and gone the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, it felt like it happened overnight. I'm sure that's just my child brain being like, it
Yeah,
happened
right.
overnight.
Shock.
They destroyed everything.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. Yeah,
Yeah.
pour one out for all the trees
Oof.
in our childhood neighborhood. So you're growing up in Burnaby,
Yep.
and you're pretty much just living the life that
Living the life.
I would just call hippie gold, which would also be
Kind
a
of.
really good name for a tea,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
hippie gold.
Yeah. Or strains, at least.
When did performing start for you?
Performing started early for me. My dad's a grandmaster martial artist.
Mm, yeah, you
He,
mentioned that.
yeah, like the part of the house my uncle had built turned into his dojo where he taught. It was like big open floor, little office in the front for him. And my dad, worked with anywhere from 10 to 10 to 15, maybe 20 students every couple days in there.
Wow.
And, of course I grew up learning that. And my dad never really had any aspirations of it, but realized he could make money as a stuntman because he had done,
Mm,
Clan of the Cave Bear and MacGyver and a bunch of the stuff that was shooting here a million years ago. And eventually, he got the call to do Ninja Turtles 3 where he was
nice.
Michelangelo. And my dad's so funny. He tells this story where he goes in to the room to audition and he tells casting like, "Yeah, I you got to let me have this or my kids won't let me be back in the house." Like
The pressure is on.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can't like audition to be a Ninja Turtle and then have my 10-year-old and my 5-year-old be like, you got a chance to be a Ninja Turtle and it didn't happen.
Had your shot, Dad.
So he ended up getting the role, and we all, me, my brother, my mom, we spent time down in Seaside, Oregon, where they were shooting it
Right.
for about 2 months. We were at a
Oh,
hotel there. It was beautiful. It was right on the beach too, and like we were
wow.
on set. I was an extra on set because I
I was
was
gonna ask you,
10.
please tell me you got in the movie and we can like
I am
pull up
in
a
the picture.
screenshot.
I am in the picture. I was supposed to do stunts for Travis Moon, who was Yoshi in the piece,
Hmm.
but the stunts got canned. Um, I'm in there somewhere. I couldn't point myself out,
That's
but
awesome, man.
it was a little like feudal Japanese sea village which they built
Yeah,
in Oregon. So we
yeah,
were on set every day, and
that's
I really fell
awesome.
hard for it. I was just
Yeah,
like, wow, this is you can
yeah,
make money doing this.
yeah. People pay you and they feed
Yeah,
you and you get to pretend.
I
What?
just show up and they put me in a cute little robe and like I get to just do whatever. And
Right.
I was bit after that. So was my
Mhm.
dad. But
Yeah, yeah. Well,
after that point I was like, this is what I got to do.
which kind of answers my next question, which was, what was your first big job that made you know for sure that this was the right industry? But yeah, what a project to have
Yeah.
that breakthrough on, that
And
realization.
it was just
Like
like extra
Ninja
work. It was
Turtles,
like, yeah, Ninja Turtles 3, no big deal.
no big deal. Only a generational,
I know.
yeah, completely inspirational piece for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
that's awesome, man.
it's so funny that like I remember like playing with the other kids on set and like, peeking our heads through and looking at what people are doing, and I'm sure I still have it somewhere, but
Yeah.
I remember I had a little black book and I got everybody's autograph on it. Like
Oh,
literally all the crew, all the cast, like
wow.
anybody who was there, I was like, please sign this.
Please
And
sign
half of
this
them
book.
were like, what are you doing?
What do you do? I bet if you found that, that would be worth
Something, yeah.
a couple golden coins for sure.
Yeah.
That's really funny, man. So you were starting out really as a background performer, as a
Yep.
martial artist. Did you yourself know that you wanted to immediately go towards stunts as well? Or did you think
Absolutely.
that martial arts and performance was the way to go? Have you flown through the air? It's what people are
um,
going to want to know.
it's funny you mentioned that because I did, but it happened like 4 years ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was so for the longest time here, pre-restrictions, we were doing a Game of Thrones themed burlesque show. And
Oh.
I'm 5'3", so I'm the shortest guy. So they're like, you're Tyrion, and I'm like, cool, whatever. So I did stand up as
Typecast.
Tyrion. Yeah, I know, right? And the last one we did, the big final number was a choreographed wrestling match between myself and Daenerys versus Cersei and Jaime.
Right.
And
Spoiler
we
alert if you haven't seen the show.
spoiler alert for
Just
the
say
for
you
whatever.
brought this on yourself.
It really did. You've had years. So we set up this spot where Cersei and Jaime like throw me off the stage. We're doing this on the stage at the Rio Theater, which is an independent movie theater here in
Mhm.
Vancouver. But the stage is, a good 5 feet off the ground. We've set a big pad for it. And there's this picture on my Instagram of me in a blonde wig and a green, like, wrestling singlet, just like this, being thrown probably 8 feet in the air to land on this thing.
Oh man.
But to speak to your previous question, I always like I grew up. My first movie in theaters was Rocky when I was like
Mm,
literally one, and my mom
yeah.
was furious at my dad, and my dad was like, he slept through most of it. It's fine.
Not
And
enough, apparently.
my mom tells me like we used to have a setup where we set like a TV on top of another TV, and my dad would watch like UFC matches, and I would watch like Looney Tunes on the bottom one.
You're like, yes, yes, I'm watching the rabbit.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
As my
But I always wanted to do like martial arts movies, like action flicks.
yeah.
And, I went through acting school. I did, 2 years, 2 diplomas, that kind of shit, standard. And I got out, and one of my acting teachers puts it best that, I was this stocky, long-haired Filipino kid at the time. And I get out into the industry here in Vancouver, and they're like, "Cool. What do we do with you?"
Oh no. Oh, my recipe.
Yep.
It's broken.
Help.
Help.
How
Yeah.
fix?
Yeah, it's really kind of, I think, an eye-opening moment for any performer when you've sort of, quote, completed
Yep.
something foundational, fundamental, and now the industry's sort of like, where do we stick you?
Yeah. Cool.
Like, don't stick me anywhere. I want to
Yeah.
work on this very specific stuff that I've been training for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's always fun to come out the other side of that
yeah.
and to start booking. So what then my next question
Please.
sort of or organically is what then became that first job that you knew, okay, I'm in the right place,
Mm.
because everyone sort of, like teased me and I got all this info and then I went away and I
Yep.
trained and I grew up. I got my what's up kind of look on, and now I've got a job. What was that first job? You felt a little bit of, confidence.
So there were a couple of them. Really that moment for me happened in a workshop.
Nice.
That
That's rare.
moment, yeah, it really was. It was such a, because I was feeling down on myself. I had just gotten out of acting school. My agent, I had a commercial agent at the time, and I mean, I don't, the commercials I'm going out for, if you need a purse snatched or something.
Oh no. Purse snatcher number one.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
waiting for you. Be like, all right,
Hello, it's me.
here I go.
But especially with the long hair at the time and no beard, I just looked, I looked a little sketchy.
Mm.
And my agent happened to be friends with our mutual acquaintance, Michael Dobson.
Shut
And
up. What's up,
yeah,
Dobson?
and oh, I love you, Dobson. I love that man so much. My agent reached out to me and was like, "Hey, so my friend Michael Dobson has this workshop. They had a spot open up. It's for voiceover. Are you interested?" And I was like,
Nice.
"Sure, why not?" Because like I grew up loving cartoons. I grew up, watching Transformers, Ninja Turtles, not GI Joe because it was too violent, but
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles wasn't, so it was fine.
Well, I have a personal feeling that, anybody that has to put a lot of time into a physical skill, mastering an ancient weapon, that's a lot more disciplined. You're going to have a little bit more self-control than the
You
people
would
who just
think.
have active trigger fingers, right? So it's like,
You
hey,
would think, right?
gun
But
violence shows and cartoons and video games, no. Ancient weaponry period pieces, yes.
yeah, that's fine. That's culture.
That's culture, right? Cultural done.
But I got in that class, and there was like me and three others. I think it was very small. It was in Michael's house, like in his basement studio out in Wally, and I fell in love immediately. I was trying this, and like I got the booklet, and in my head, I was like, this people don't do this, right? This isn't a career.
Are cartoons a real thing?
Cartoons real job, Google. Um, and I fell for it. I was like, oh my, I can do this.
Yeah.
And a big part of it for me was, I'm as a biracial person, I always, I got typecast a lot, and I got a lot of people looking at me like, oh well, you're not white enough for the white roles, you're not Asian enough for the Asian roles. what do we do with you?
Mm,
And even now, or not now, but recently, within the past few years, a lot of the auditions that I've been seeing come up have been for, like, it says open ethnicity, but it's clearly, you know, tagged towards a black person, or a Latinx person, or
mm,
something that is not me.
mm-hmm.
And the industry still doesn't quite know what Filipino is. They're like, oh, are they Latino? Are they Asian? Oh, they're
Yeah,
Pacific Islander, right? No, that's
yeah.
Hawaiian.
Well, from the perspective of a let's just say a Norse ghost, doesn't it doesn't get much wider
Yep.
than me. But I do know, because I've been keeping my ear very much to the ground, and I've been trying to learn and develop that other lens, which is
Hmm.
hard. But how do you feel that representation is addressing this in our industry? I mean,
Mm.
is progressiveness doing the job it's setting out to do? I mean, speaking as a biracial person, being
Hmm.
somewhat alienated and pushed into the corners. I mean, how do you feel about representation right now?
I would say we've come a long way. We've come a really, really long way, and there's still miles to go before we sleep. But
Yeah.
the fact that we've come as far as we have is big.
Hmm.
Like, I know that there are companies out there, and I applaud them for doing this, who are so minute in their casting that I will see, and I did see casting calls for, like, 17-year-old Vietnamese teen, but he lives in Houston, or 30-year-old Mongolian man, but he lives in Osaka. So it's all these little flavor notes to
Interesting.
add to things, and
Yeah, that's a really
it's
that's a
really, really
really
cool.
good what's the word I want to use? That's a really good sort of cultural hybrid.
It is. It's really cool.
Background and geography and background, sort of taking a step
Hmm.
into a different place.
But I have also seen casting calls that'll go into great detail. There was one
Right.
in particular I'm thinking of that was like, character one, we're thinking Middle Eastern, maybe Libyan, maybe Moroccan. Character two, we're thinking North African, maybe Tunisia, maybe somewhere else. Character three, Asian. Character four, we're thinking Caucasian, maybe Scottish. And I'm like, dude, what? What? Hold on, go back to three. Go back
What?
to three real quick. Who's
What?
that guy?
What? Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't see anything nearly that glamorous. It's usually all the bad bads, and there's
Yep.
a lot of the bad bads and some of those words. And I realize that it sort of speaks to the trigger work that we have to do sometimes as actors. And you're like, okay, I'm playing this character, and then you sort of work toward your intentions and your actions, and you kind of realize that the impact is not really up to you, because there's so many people putting this whole performance together. But
Hmm.
I think that honesty and that realness of culture is incredibly important
Yeah,
to performance and to art in general. And I mean, we can't watch show after show after show after show of one thing and call ourselves well rounded.
absolutely.
It just means that we can't see the edges of our total
Yeah,
flat opinion.
we only see what is, like, directly in front of us, and we've got the blinders on, and to our sides are, all of these systemic issues, and all of these just issues that have been around forever.
Yeah.
That and this is the tricky part with representation, is like, it's all well and good to include people of color, LGBTQIA people, people from minorities, or as
Yeah.
I've heard it termed, global
Yeah.
majorities, which I love.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's another thing if you include them and they're just a token, or they're just
Hmm.
um, they're just there to fill a quota or something.
Right.
And that's less cool. That's when, like, I had this one for an on-camera piece and of course the role was gangbanger, and the script was written in what appeared to be like AAVE, like dialect,
Mm-hmm.
like African American vernacular, or Ebonic vernacular,
Mm-hmm.
or vernacular Ebonics, or I don't recall the exact term, but I saw this and I was like, "What? Me? No,
Mm.
those aren't." So I ended up rewriting the audition entirely.
Mm.
I looked at the script and I was like, "Okay, these aren't my words. They've asked me for this, so I'm gonna send it to them because fuck those guys." And I rewrote the script, not changing the meaning or anything. I was still doing the scene, but I changed the words so it would actually sound like it could come from me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad I didn't get that one, man. I it was totally some like, washed up 80s star
That's
project,
awesome.
vanity
Yeah,
project.
that actually kind of answered one of my other questions, which is, has there ever been a role that you were glad you didn't get because
Oh,
the
there's a bunch, man. There's so
material?
many.
Yeah,
There's so many.
I can think back to a couple times where I most certainly thought to myself, now I'm going to do a good job
Yeah.
because I want there to be a consistent level of knowledge and, perception of Michael's quality work.
Mhm.
But I hope they don't book me because, oh man,
Yep.
the
Well, that's the
nastiest
thing.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like as a performer of color and as a queer performer, like my thing is, you know, I know I have to fight harder.
Yeah.
I know that, if it's, me versus you know, equally skilled, equally talented white person for the same role, and it's open ethnicity or whatever they're going to say,
Mm.
I'm going to need to fight harder because they might know that performer from previous shows, they might know that
Yeah.
performer from previous bookings, and they might see my name and just be like, "Oh, that seems ethnic." Or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
not to speak ill of any of our casting directors here in Vancouver. A lot of them are
No, it is
absolutely
it is a
brilliant,
business. It is a
but it's a
business, and
business.
I'm sure you've heard the same rumors for the last several years, even pre-COVID. There was this idea that if you didn't have enough Twitter followers, or if you weren't
Hmm.
verified, or that if your socials weren't doing as well as perhaps someone else, then it was automatically decided that for the sake of butts and seats, they will go with the person who's auditioning who has a larger following
Yep.
because it somehow guarantees that all those people will watch.
Oh yeah, because parents care if Chris Pratt is Garfield.
I can just picture Chris Pratt as Garfield. It would be the first time we would ever see Garfield preen in
Yeah.
that very Chris Pratt way, sort of
Hey, do you
turning.
have lasagna? Do you have lasagna here? Oh, Odie, I hate
We
that
will,
guy.
we will reach out to Chris Pratt and see if he's interested
I have bad
in,
news for you, Michael.
in Garfield.
It is confirmed.
Oh,
It
well then
is.
I won't
Yep.
comment, and I'll just wait to. I will wait to see what the gods bring us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, which actually really really nicely could sort of transitions into the next question really well. What movie are you looking forward to right now? Anything coming
Ooh.
out?
What am I looking forward to right now? So I'm really late on movies. The last movie I saw in
I'm
theaters
equally
was,
guilty. I'm
yeah,
equally guilty about movies.
the last one I saw was Green Knight, which I adored.
Mm.
Um, I've seen two movies since quarantine started in March 2020, and they were Fast Nine, the Fast Saga, and The Green Knight. And I loved both equally for entirely different reasons.
Yeah, that's allowed. You
Yep.
are allowed.
Um, Ones I am looking forward to seeing, but I haven't seen yet, are like Nightmare Alley by Guillermo del Toro.
Mm.
Just because I love him. I love what he do. I like when he's
Oh,
scary. I'm
yeah.
excited to see it.
Yeah, I only like me some scary when
Yeah.
it's Guillermo del Toro scary.
Yeah, like when it's artistic.
Yes, because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm like, ugh, obligatory blood and gore, and like there's a brazier and someone's yelling and down the stairs of all places. I just like, I'm not really into being scared for the fun of the scared.
Yeah.
I'd rather be scared in real life and survive and be like, yep, got a great story to tell. Pass me a beer. Than have like a 2-hour experience where I purposefully knew that I was going to get scared and I still put myself in that position. I'm not good with scared, but artistic scared, I can do artsy because I'm like, okay, I can deal with the fear because the lighting is pretty.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate the shot.
Yeah.
And sort of distract myself with the art instead of being like, why is that man's head on a plate?
Yeah. What's up with that? It's a weird choice, but like the first Silent Hill movie is really good for that, even though it's a video game movie. Like you'd think of it as trash. It is in ways. But Christopher Gans, who did Dog Soldiers, directed.
Oh.
And it is so slavishly adapted from the games that there's all the monsters are done with practical effects and then CG a little bit on top.
Yeah.
But for all of like the strange inhuman movements that they did, they hired dancers. So you can really see it in like the precision of the movement and the sharpness and it's really beautiful. Nope, by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's new movie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really excited to see it. Stephen Yeun, Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it except I've seen the poster and it looks like there's aliens. And I've seen a
That's
publicity
effective marketing,
still.
everyone. Good job. We got aliens on the poster.
We did it.
We did it.
We released a poster of Stephen Yeun in a cowboy hat and a bolo tie. And I'm curious to see why he's wearing them.
That's all it takes. And I mean, I love all these wonderful, we're just seamlessly, drifting from one question to the next.
I expected as much.
What do you look for in a movie? Because there's again, I mean, it's one thing to be, like, hey, what are you excited for? How did the marketing work? Were you drawn in by the poster? Was it the celebrity name? Was it like, is it a book? Like, yay, the property drew me in, but now you're there, butts and seats. I got my popcorn. I do not like X, or I do not like Y, or I only look for A. What do you look for in a movie?
So it depends. I love auteur
That's
directors.
Fair. Excellent. It depends. It
truly does. Like, I love auteur directors. Like, I'm gonna go see if Guillermo del Toro does something. I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
If I knew nothing about Last Night in Soho when my partner and I went to go see it, and it's one of my favorite movies of last year.
Nice.
It's Edgar Wright, and it's like weird time travel, scary nonsense. And
I like timey-wimey. Anything that's got time in it, I'm like drawn in because I have so many questions about why some of this actually makes sense.
Yeah. It's It's very cool.
When I feel like I should stop mid-movie and send a tweet to Neil deGrasse Tyson to ask him a real question. I know.
Yeah, so he can snipe at you on Twitter.
Hey, Neil, Michael, again, is this possible? You're like, stop doing this. I'm gonna get my lawyers involved.
Like, you don't even get a response from him. You get a response from the law firm of whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe law firm.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for action flicks. I always have been.
Yeah.
And
well, duh. I mean, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm a real sucker for like action flicks with heart.
Yeah.
So
well said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So like something like the John Wick movies are first off beautiful. They're gorgeous to look at. They're well done.
I love that the story behind those movies was a second unit director / stunt choreographer asking an actor who he's known for a while, hey, would you help me out? It's my directorial debut. I'd really appreciate it. And then John Wick 4 and beyond, it's like, now we're just printing money.
Yeah.
By being extremely brutal in our choreography with guns, and obviously Keanu's the man for the job.
Oh, the amount that he trained, like you watch his training videos, he's brilliant.
like 17 seconds, 30 targets, and he got mad because at the end, and he's got like this huge M16 full assault rifle. He's like,
Yep.
yeah, I missed that one at the end. I had to hit it twice. And you're like, you missed one.
You missed one, bud.
You missed one, bud, in 17 seconds out of 32 static targets. Oh, man. I guess we'll just...
Someone's going to be mad at you. Reddit's going to have a field day with you, Keanu.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Reddit.
But
Reddit won't go down.
that's one reason I love the Fast and the Furious films.
Yeah.
Because they are the dumbest movies. Plainly.
Wait. I have to let my brain catch up.
Please.
I love them.
I adore them.
Movies.
Well, there's in 8, a submarine chases a car. In 5, I think it is, the one that takes place in Brazil, there's the whole climax of the thing is two army vehicle, or no, two sports cars pulling a safe through the streets of Rio de Janeiro, like a bank safe, destroying shit along the way, and being chased by paramilitaries and military guys.
Full confession, I have not seen the full length and breadth and depth of the Fast and Furious.
My friend, they shift so much. Like the first ones are fun,
like
but it's just a point. Like there's the Point Break ripoff. The first one's a Point Break ripoff. That's all it is.
Point Breaking cars.
It's Point Breaking cars.
Meeting. That's what happened in the elevator. Hey, what's up? Point Breaking cars.
Point Breaking cars.
We're doing
Point
this.
Breaking cars.
We're doing this.
And then, like, as the film goes on, like, Vin Diesel is such a lovable weirdo, I've come to learn. And after Paul Walker's death, the entire, like, it's beautiful because every film post Paul Walker's death implies that Brian's character, or Brian, the character who is Paul Walker, is still alive.
Yeah.
And at the end of every film, they have a family barbecue where everybody gets to sit down and, like have fun and like relax. And it's always implied that there's a seat saved for him.
Always.
And
yeah.
Always. Car pulls up.
That is that sliver of heart that, some people just might say is redeemable. Yeah. Which, I would agree. I would agree. Also, it does become important to say that because of the heart, it doesn't not make it an action film.
Absolutely
and
not.
Because of the action, it's not to say that a film can't also have heart.
No.
My issue sometimes is only with the sheer fantastical nature of the vehicles themselves and the like transformer like energy of I'm holding a chain that's attached to a helicopter. At the other end of the chain, there's a car, and I'm just holding all of them. Like, sorry, mate, we'd be picking you up off the ground with a mop and bucket.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the fantastical stuff, I get a little bit, come on. That's kind of
completely fair.
Yeah.
But man, is it worth it to see them swing across a gorge in a Dodge Charger with a chain.
Yeah, but just once, I would like to see one of those entrances where someone's like trying to like free fall into a vehicle. I would like to see somebody land on either side of the door and just get it right in the junk and have to deal with that and try and stay cool.
That would
and then they got to roll into the car and deliver their line that's like, nailed it. Like something.
That's 100% going to be Luda and Tyrese in the new one.
Oh man, I feel like we could be in the middle of like writing a parody film series. Could be funny.
I remember there's this brilliant screenwriter who, to my knowledge, hasn't actually produced a script, but he would write a script in a weekend and put it online for everybody to see. His name's Jordan Vendina, and he did a script maybe 5 years ago called Fast 9, Nein, The Fast and the Fuhrer, where it was implied that Brian had to go back in time to stop the Third Reich, but he'd been brainwashed by them, so Dom and the team had to go back in time to rescue Brian from Hitler and also defeat the Third Reich.
Wow.
And there's also a car race in it because, of course, there is.
Right. So did they use a hot tub time machine to go back in time? I just don't see the value.
If there's no hot tub, I'm out.
If there's no hot tub, then this comedy won't work.
We're gone. We're done.
Needs to have standards.
It's a hot tub or a flux capacitor, one or the other.
Marty, get in the hot tub. Yeah, that would be a weird twist for sure. I wanted to talk about foreign language films for a minute because on your IMDb you have several foreign language project credits.
Mm-hmm.
How many languages do you speak? Do you learn?
None. I speak no other languages. Because of 10 years spent in capoeira, I speak like some Portuguese here and there. In a lot of those cases, that's going to be like live action dubbing.
Right.
And also, I've written to IMDb so many times. I'm not the voice of Doraemon.
I had this same conversation with Yuri Lowenthal because I was like, hey, Yuri, do you know you're up to 785 credits? And he's like, I have asked those guys so many times. Yeah. There are so many false flag credits on IMDb. He's like, a third of those are probably not even real. Yeah. He's like, somebody wants me to be in a project purely for want of me being in it. They go online and they say I'm in it. I'm like, how are you supposed to keep track?
I've written to them. I've edited it myself. I've had people with an IMDb Pro membership edit it, and then it still pops up. And I'm just like, yo, like, if I'm in as many of these projects as I'm supposed to be, where's my checks? I'll send you guys my address. You can send me money, but
send it to me. I'm still in Burnaby. Oh man. So I want to talk about how we met because it is a really fun story. For those of you who don't know, like 100 years ago, I kind of started doing stuff on stage. You know, there was musicals when I was a kid, and then of course I did a little bit more theater. But early on in my career as a teacher, I was asked to be part of a theater show. We were putting on Biloxi Blues. So Biloxi Blues was kind of our first big coming together.
I believe so. I think we had probably like crossed paths before then.
We had crossed paths before that, but it had always been sort of casual, like, hey, I keep seeing you. Good day. Yeah. So, I mean, I obviously know what the process was like for me, but what was that show like for you? Because being in the position of power and darkness and heaviness and abuse and harassment, that was easy. I was no, it's cool. I got kids. I'll just pretend. But
for you, this was the greatest day in your village.
Yes, I was the guy with the gun.
It was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday. I was the guy with the gun. I was the guy drunk off power, and then later drunk off Jack.
Yep.
But yeah, I never really, aside from some very short conversations, I never really got a chance to, figure out what it would have been like to, shoe on the other foot, because we had that one exercise, I'm pretty sure, where we like swapped lines and, just tried to create some different sense of it. But what was that like? Because, I mean, I knew the gun wasn't loaded. You knew the gun wasn't loaded.
Arnold certainly didn't.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
That was interesting for me because I'd done a fair bit of theater up to that point. Usually just, community theater here and there, and I certainly did a couple more after that. But I remember auditioning for that, and I didn't want to read for Arnold. Arnold seemed like a dork, and I want to be a dork.
Can I read for the cool guy who eats?
Can I read for like the hot, sexy guy? Can I be him? I'd like to be the dude who kisses a bunch of ladies, please.
Could I be a lady kisser?
It says here this role has no kissing ladies. Can we fix that?
Excuse me, sir. I believe I ordered the lady kissing. Yeah.
I wrote to Neil Simon and he said it was cool.
But you went
But
and read for Arnold anyway.
yeah, I read for Arnold anyway because I was like, well, why not? I'm here.
Yeah.
Um, and I got the thing, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I wasn't doing anything at the time, and I thought, this is great. This is an opportunity for me to explore, and a lot of the stuff that I had done on theater up to that point was, pantomimes or other uh, uh, nothing serious anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And this seemed like a great opportunity to dig and play with some more serious things. And I remember feeling very isolated, I guess.
Mm.
Partially by my own making, because I am a reserved person generally,
Mm-hmm.
outside of conversations with good friends.
Mm-hmm.
But also because the character is very reserved, and at the time I was flirting with the concept of method as much as I now despise it. I was a 20-something manlet. I get it.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was also a 20-something-year-old man. I strove for many things for
Oh boy.
wrong reasons.
Yep. Did we ever?
Yeah.
And I remember that show. I remember it fondly overall. It's also where we met where I met our mutual friend Adrian Petru, who
Yeah,
is a
absolutely.
lovely human being.
Lovely.
And it was really, really, it was really cool to get to do such, because Arnold has some really powerful, really vulnerable moments in the show, and he also has
Yeah.
some very scary stuff in the show. He's
Mm.
kind of the show is about another character entirely, but I feel like Arnold is kind of the heart of it.
Absolutely.
He's
And I
the guy
mean,
in the center of it all.
I was thinking about our show just the other day because I knew,
Mhm.
I wanted to get in touch with you, and I was just thinking back and looking back on memories, and it really was an ensemble cast
Yep.
centered around
You and me. Yeah.
Adrian's it's a me centered around me, obviously.
No, you and me, and then Petru
yes,
somewhere.
it was all the power struggles happening simultaneously. Some characters were struggling with rational thought, others were struggling just to be there.
Yeah.
But I always appreciated your attention to detail, that Arnold was first an intellectual and
Yeah.
second a human being.
Yeah.
And he kind of was revolted by the human part. But I absolutely loved your performance, and working
Thank you.
with you was wonderful.
Thank you. And of course, the it cannot be said how much I learned from you on that show. Just in terms of pure. It's like when it was that we were able to record in a room with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I know some of my best acting lessons have been taken from those moments.
Yeah.
Speaking to Dragon Prince, in the first season when like Luke Roderick and Jason Simpson have some really incredible, intense stuff back and forth between the two characters. I was just sitting there like,
yeah,
we gotta write this down.
It's like, and lick and right. Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, I was just about to transition into talking about the Dragon Prince, because I might know you from Biloxi Blues and friend circles, but most people will know you from Dragon Prince. So we just started talking about it. How did that whole process come together? Obviously there was an audition first.
There most certainly was. I auditioned for a lot of roles on that show. When I first got it, I read for Soren, I read for Callum, I read for Viren, who Jason ended up being. I read for Runan, who is Jonathan Holmes. And I put down what I felt were equally good auditions for most of them, and then Soren, Soren was written as I believe the description said, like, think James Spader in an 80s movie but with a heart. Think like Joey from Friends with a sword.
Joey from Friends with a sword. You should make a sword t-shirt and just put that sort of like on the back, just sort of cresting.
Just Soren in the Friends font.
People would buy that.
Oh my God, would buy
link in my link tree.
But I read for it and I felt really good about that one, and I got a callback for it. And I remember the callback was at Cosmic, I think, or Coco, one of those anyway.
Mhm.
And I hung out in the park. There's a little dog park right near there, and I just kind of sat under a tree and read over the script. And I was playing like the Pretty in Pink soundtrack in my headphones because
Oh,
Spader
yeah.
was my big hit for it.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And I went in and I went through it once, and they were like, "Cool, try it this way." I was on with Devin, who's the producer now on it, and they were like, "Okay, that was great. Give it again." And these changed, and I was like, "Cool, done." And they were like, "Thank you so much." And I was like, "Cool, goodbye." And I never expected to hear from them again because we never do. That's how we stay sane.
Well, I mean, and you do have to sort of prepare yourself for the inevitability that if you call to get an update, the update might never come.
Yeah,
If you call to get an update, you might only find out that you're not in the mix.
yeah,
So it's like, do I call or do I wait or do I just look back on my life to
yeah,
all the
and wonder.
800 times I was told no?
I sometimes call just to be like, "Yo, my audition was good. What's up?"
I'm letting you know, putting you on notice that I was spectacular and you have no sense of artistic integrity.
You don't gotta book me, but if a producer's kid wanted this role, that's fine.
Yeah. Just tell me in advance that it
Yeah,
turns out after all of your tireless searching that your cousin was perfect for
yeah.
it. Imagine that.
But yeah, I got the email from Aaron and Justin, or from my agent, saying, "Oh, you booked TDP." That's all I knew it as at the time,
Yeah.
TDP. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Great, I can eat, I can pay rent, hooray!"
Yay! Ramen.
Yeah, finally. And then I got an email from my agent saying, "Hey, the creators wanted to reach out to you guys. Is it okay if I give them your email?" And I was like, "Yes, they're employing me. Of course you may.
Yeah. Yes. Send
Please."
it. Don't make them wait.
Yeah. And I got the email saying, "Thank you so much for being a part of the cast, blah 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 blah. We're really looking forward to the table read, so on and so forth." Signed, Justin Richmond, Aaron Ehas. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I know these guys' names now. I'll just Google them, see what happens." And turns out Justin was like the producer on all the Uncharted games and on Last of Us, or the
Mm.
one of the guys on it anyway, the big wigs on it. And Aaron was the lead writer on Avatar: The Last Airbender and was in the staff writer on Futurama and like all this shit. And
Like, I watch your stuff while I go to sleep.
yeah, and I had that moment of just like, this is
See,
gonna
that's
be
the fake.
something.
I avoid
Yeah,
researching people I'm about to work with because I know if I read too much about them, I will freak out. And then I will have anxiety and like fanboy energy when I meet them. I'll be like, what's up?
and that is exactly what happened.
Cool. Cool. What's up? What's up, man? You guys good? What's up?
Ugh, I did exactly that, and like even worse when I met Giancarlo Volpe, who was the exec on the first three seasons. I mean, he's such a lovely man. He's also one of the producers off King of the Hill, and
Yeah.
Avatar, and Green Lantern, and Star vs. the Force of Evil. And I had that moment, like we were just hanging out, and I was like, "Yo, GC, I gotta let you know, I like your work."
I'm not trying to be, like not trying to be in your face or nothing,
Yeah,
but
I like your work, bro.
like your work.
I had that moment when I did the show Yoo-Hoo and Friends here a billion years ago,
Yeah.
and David Feast was the director on that, and David Feast directed like Cow and Chicken and I Am Weasel and all that stuff, and I didn't realize that until later on, and kind of mid record, like he was coming out, it was lunch, and I just kind of was like, "You directed Cow and Chicken?" And he said, "Yes, I did." And I said, "David, I came home from school to watch your show. Thank you."
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I try to avoid fanboy moments, but every so often I'll just get hit with one like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, knowing that it was Aaron and Justin and that I was on their show, immediately the stakes in my head were like, "Oh, hold on, this is a thing."
It got a little more real. Yeah.
It got way more real.
And I mean, perspective, because I mean, as the artist, we always have this tendency to think, I am so fortunate to be working. Thank you so much. I mean, we know how the other half think.
Yeah.
We absolutely know how the other half think. But the appreciation and the gratitude, and of course, that little excitement, that little burst that sort of comes along with the idea that, like, oh man, I've landed somewhere. Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. And then, of
Yeah.
course, again, for some, the work carries on and the show becomes, sort of, just like a normal 9 to 5. And really, like familiarity breeds a little bit of contempt, and you
Yeah.
sort of stop seeing it the way it is, and you stop appreciating things for what they are. And I mean, I always try, in an effort to combat that, I always try to remember that even me, on my down day, like again, a Monday, like Monday,
Yeah. Oh, God
even at
forbid.
my worst, I got to remember that my forgotten moments are still the height of somebody else's
Yeah.
dreams, right? Just to
I
get on a show, just to
Yeah.
stand at the mic surrounded by other actors, or, director on the other side of the glass. Like, that's what people are really hoping for and striving for. And we get to do it.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is really awesome.
It's
So
it's a beautiful thing. It
yeah.
really is.
So if no
And
one's told you today, you're awesome. And the
oh,
Dragon Prince is
Michael,
beautiful
thank
and
you.
breathtaking and
Thank you.
amazing. And yeah,
I'm so proud of it. It's
yeah. Lots of online love. You guys have
yeah.
received
We're doing
so much
okay.
praise. Which, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, again, separate issue slash question. How has that changed, like, your online presence slash comfortability? Social media,
Oh
people
boy.
found you.
um Initially it changed it a fair bit. As I've grown older and more radical in my politics and in my demeanor,
Mm,
very little. Um I When I first got recognized as the voice of Soren for Dragon Prince, I I like people were following me en masse on Twitter because I was at like 200 people, and now I'm at 4 or something, and I could always use more.
You heard the man, Twitter. Get to work.
Do your thing.
Do
But
your thing, algorithm.
I put out a thing because I consider myself to be very progressive in my politic and very open and willing to listen. And I was like, hey guys, I mean, thank you so much for being here, thank you so much for being a part of the ride. I'm new to this is not something I ever expected in my life.
I don't
So
fame good.
yeah, so please be nice. Don't
Fame
make me cry.
me gently.
And I said early on, like, hey, like, if I do something that's not cool online, like, tell me,
Mm,
let me know,
yeah,
because I am not here to. It is never my intention to hurt anybody.
yeah,
It is never my intention to make anybody feel isolated or hurt or down. Even I come from a place of wanting everyone to have what they deserve,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that is just a basic human need.
yeah. That's beautiful,
And
man.
it's respect, right? And I'm happy to listen, and
Mhm.
if I fuck up, I'm more than happy to hear about it, and I am more than happy to course correct.
Yeah, and I've sort of, latched on to something that Billy Porter said in
Mm,
an interview that I watched not long ago. It was sort of in and around the days when, of course, again, not to drop any names, but Billy Porter was responding to Dave Chappelle
mm,
and his comments about the LGBTQIA community and the trans community. And Billy Porter said something that I hope I never forget. He said, we are only responsible for our intentions and our intent. You cannot also be responsible for the impact, because that's got nothing to do with you.
mhm.
So everything that we try, of course, your intention may have been this, the energy may have been this, it may not have been hate filled or, like directly a aggressive moment, but
Yeah,
the internet has a way of spinning intention into impact
yeah,
without really, I mean, it's not even about consent. It's just sort of, this was said, look at the video, and done.
yeah.
And there's the truth of the matter out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, not to speak too much on this, but I do think that, like, we only control so many things. And especially as actors and performers, we only control so many things.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that, like, the way that we say things or the way that things may occur can be unintentional. It can be very intentional. Who knows? I certainly don't. But I also think that, there is sometimes especially as a person in the public eye, we're going to be scrutinized.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be put under a lens. And in today's social media world, the news cycle is so fast, and we're always BuzzFeed's always looking for an outrage click or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it benefits us to approach with love and be like, hey, okay, I fucked up. Even if it's something small, even if it's like, oh, I mean, I didn't do this, but maybe I tweeted something that was potentially ableist, or potentially not considering the non-binary people or trans folk or something. And if I didn't mean that to be offensive, and someone takes offense to it, it bears me saying, like, yo, look, this is where I'm coming from with this.
Mm.
And just a little bit of that an explanation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think the internet and the speed at which social media kind of pushes itself, there's a desire to kind of just die on whatever hills we got.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's where I start to be like, yo, like, aren't you, come on, guy, like, what you said was bad, and you're
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm gonna keep saying that though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing.
There's a lot of camps. There's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of camps. But I think the thing at the end of the day, like you said, just to expand on that,
Mm-hmm.
if you are walking in love, if you're walking in, your truth, and if you, as a member of a minority community or a marginalized community, or if you're an ally to one of those marginal
Mm-hmm.
communities, as much as it is about clarity, there's also a great opportunity and a great challenge to listen,
Yeah.
and learn and grow. Like you said, right? Everybody makes those mistakes, and course correction.
Of course.
That's what it's all about.
That's all it is. And it's never like it. I was watching a really good YouTube video the other day from a creator named Zoe B, who did this wonderful series on how to. Her video was titled "How to Argue on the Internet and Win," but the video was essentially about how to help de-radicalize people.
Mm.
And she comes from a teaching background, and she's existed on the internet for a while, so it was a very interesting watch. But she said something that really stuck with me, which was, you're never going to change anybody's mind by insulting them.
Mm.
And she was using in her example, she was speaking of like a flat earth theorist. She was like, look, if you come to them and you're like, you're a fucking moron for thinking that, how dare you, that's so stupid, like, they're just going to dig their heels in. But if you approach with respect, if you say, like, hey, look, that's kind of like, why do you believe that? What are your thoughts on this?
Show me your research. Where's your study? Yeah.
I should say that in mind, that does not go for people whose beliefs or thoughts are going to be actively harmful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would wrap a big old circle around people who would, I don't know, eat a foam cup. I'd say, you guys, you are your own kind of person.
If someone's belief patterns are like, this group of people is inferior to that group of people, I am absolutely not going to engage in a nice debate with them.
Yeah, no.
But if someone's just like, hey, so chemtrails, huh?
I'll be like, nobody needs to get punched in the face over a chemtrail conversation.
It's cool.
You want me to start an argument? Paper straws are cool. Come at me, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Oh, dude, you've been so generous with your time.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
I really appreciate it. I got one last question for you.
Yes, go for it.
If technology persists and 1,000 years from now, people inhabiting Earth can still watch your work,
oh boy,
what should they most definitely watch?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Because, like, the really cool thing about Dragon Prince, which is the first thing that comes to mind, but I know there's other things, is I've gotten to see the impact of it firsthand on people.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten, when, you know, me and the gang were down at SAC Anime, we had this, you know, little, I think she was 8 or 9-year-old girl, little Asian girl, like walking around to our tables. And she had a little book that she had made herself, and it had, like, you know, a picture of us on the front, or a picture of the show on the front, and had 2 pages, like, folded out, dedicated to each of our characters. And had something like, this is who this character is. I like this character because this. I don't like this character because of this. This character makes me feel X. And then at the bottom had a little place for our signatures.
That's awesome.
And
I approve your assessment of my character.
Well done, A+. And, you know, I've seen this is not a Soren story at all, and it's just a story I love telling, that you know, the guys, Aaron and Justin, got an email from a parent. I think there were a couple of them, probably, usually. And they said, you know, our daughter is deaf, and we were watching this show. She was watching Dragon Prince on her own, and she came running into the room after she saw General Lamaya, who is a deaf character on the show.
Yeah.
And she signed to us, you know, "Mommy, Daddy, there's someone on TV like me."
Oh.
And that moment alone, like, that gave me a shiver thinking about that, because it's just such a beautiful moment. And, you know, there's stuff in there. Certainly my relationship with my dad is fine generally, but Soren certainly isn't. And I've had conversations with people at conventions who have said, you know, oh, you know, Soren's dealing with his dad helped me to understand some shit that was going on with my folks, or with my whatever. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool, thank you. Like, it, because how do you respond to that? It's a beautiful thing, and it means so much. And, you know, the way that the guys have put the show together, that it's so thoughtfully crafted. Of course, I can't say anything about the new stuff we have coming.
Oh yeah, no spoilers.
But
the people 1,000 years in the future will have to wait.
Probably. But, you know, it's so thoughtful, and it's so well done, and it really means a lot to us. Like, all of us involved, all the cast, everybody.
Yeah.
We've had conversations, like Jason and I, when we were on our way down to Anaheim for WonderCon, and we were like, this is a special show. This is actually a special show. This means so much. So I guess ultimately my answer is Marvel Funko Battle World, like by Spider-Man.
Marvel Funko Battle World, yeah.
Marvel Funko Battle World, Spider-Man.
After all that about the Dragon Prince.
No, but for real, I think, you know, I mean, God willing, it's the next project that I do, but you know, the impact that Dragon Prince has had, not only culturally, but just on me, you know, on the way that I interact with the world, on the way that it's opened my eyes to a lot of things, the fandom, the community, the show.
Wonderful.
And it's just, I don't know, it's special. It's really special.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that with us. That definitely also gave me chills, right? Someone on TV just like me. That gives
someone
me
on TV like me.
Hope, man. That gives me hope. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Blue Curtain Show. I'm Michael Adamthwaite. My very special guest has been Mr. Jesse Inocalla. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. I love you, and I value your time. Thank you for joining us.
I love you very much, Michael. Take care. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
tuning in,
Take care,
everybody.
everybody. Catch us next time. Bye
Namaste.
bye.